Welcome to the first episode of the Grounded Mama podcast. I'm so happy that you're here. And I just wanted to say a little warm welcome, an introduction of what we're going to be talking about. This is the first episode of the Grounded Mama podcast. If you were a previous listener of the podcast that I had originally started with, thank you for being a listener. Welcome. And to anybody that's new here, thank you again. I'm just very excited. This has been a long time coming for me, and I'm grateful that it's finally here. So thank you for joining me. I first wanted to share that I have giveaways for the podcast, and just as my token of gratitude and appreciation for everybody who is showing up and listening and sharing reviews. So I have 5 books and a planner that pretty much has helped me in not just my journey of life, but my motherhood journey over the past few years. And I find myself referencing or resourcing some of these books often. So again, I just want these books to get in the hands of mamas like you who maybe would appreciate a resource, or some of the things that I might talk about maybe come from these books or strategies. Or again, I have a Start Your Day planner by Christy Wright that I use almost every single day. And I feel like as a busy, overwhelmed mom, this is something that helps me keep on task. So again, I just want to share these wonderful resources with you all. And all you have to do is basically write a review for me and share it. I would just be so grateful and so humble that you would take the time, some of your precious time that is, to write me a review. And if you could just screenshot it before you submit it, because Apple Podcast does take a couple days to actually show up. But if you could just take a screenshot before you write a review and just share what's on your heart, I would just be so grateful in reading these back, and how some people have reached out to me directly, loved the old podcast and what I did and how I impacted your lives in the capacity of showing up with courage. And so again, I would just be very honored and very grateful for you to write a review, screenshot it, and that submits you and enters you to win one of these books or this planner. And then I'm also giving away 2 one-on-one 60-minute coaching calls with me. So basically, if you wanted to connect with me and just share where you're at on your motherhood journey, and if you're really overwhelmed or really stressed, or there's certain things that are bringing you anxiety, and maybe we can just kind of tackle some of those, or have some mindfulness tools or practical approaches and tips to help you kind of conquer those and navigate through those things. So I want to just start off on that foot of being generous and grateful and all the things. Again, the reason I'm here is because I'm a mom and I want to help you on your motherhood journey as well. So let's dive into the first episode of the Grounded Mama podcast. Enjoy. Do you wake up with the intention of being a present and patient mom, only to find yourself feeling overwhelmed and depleted amidst the chaos of daily life? Hi, I'm Lesley, a mom of littles and the host of the Grounded Mama podcast. Here we will find balance by integrating practices that reduce overstimulation and stress in order to enhance your whole family's well-being. Ready to slow down and be the intentional mother you desire to be? Okay, mama, it's time to feel grounded. Take a deep breath and let's dive in. Hello, everybody. I am so grateful to be back. It feels so good to be meeting with you again and connecting. I know it has been a couple months since I came on here with the Kindred Journey podcast and shared that I was in the process of a rebrand, and here we are. It is the end of February and we are finally back. So thank you for honoring me and where I needed to be in my season of life. And I had a few things that just kind of took over that, God told me to lay it down for a minute, and I paused. And again, coming from a place of wholeness and being able to be here, genuinely, authentically excited to be here with everybody is the space and right where I want to be and right where I hope you can feel the energy coming through this microphone, how excited I am to be back. There was, again, just a lot of the holidays, and then I had a big work project that really just consumed everything in me. And yeah, I've been working on this rebrand for a while now. It's been a slow burn, but I am so excited to be here. So welcome to the Grounded Mama podcast. You can expect to hear from me weekly, and we will also be maybe having some bonus episodes, but that will be kind of on a week by week basis. And if you want to join me on Heartbeat, it's an app where I have my own special community that is called the Rebalanced Mama. And that is where all of us moms can join together in community and know that we're not alone. That is just something that is so important to me in this motherhood journey of mine, is knowing I'm supported, but also having the support of additional moms that are in it with me. And so I would love for you to come and join me over there. It's again, it's an app called Heartbeat, and it's totally free to you. It is called the Rebalanced Mama. And I will attach a link in the show notes for you to go check it out if that's something that you're interested in. And also, if you wanted to become a Grounded Mama Insider, that is basically just weekly love notes from me, things that are going on in my life, and information on each week's episode. And if there's any kind of promotional things or any kind of events, I've done events in the past. So it'll just kind of be in the know. So if that's something that you're also interested in joining, that is also included in the show notes. But yeah, let's dive in. What to expect. So this podcast is actually going to be a little bit different than the previous podcast that I was the host of. And this is for mamas. This is for overwhelmed mamas. This is for mamas who need that extra support, but maybe aren't receiving it in their personal day-to-day life, or feeling like you're kind of alone in this motherhood journey. Again, we are so not alone, even though sometimes motherhood can feel like a very isolating experience. So I'm just excited to be here. And if you're expecting and you are like, oh my gosh, I've been preparing for the labor classes, but I don't really know what's on the other side of that. I've had so many conversations with friends, like brides and first-time moms are sometimes the targeted market of, you need this and you need that and you need the nursery all set up in the bassinet and all these things. And it's like, well, no, what about support? What about rest? What about nutrition? Like, I was so not prepared in my motherhood journey with my first. I was definitely more proactive with my second. And I've shared on previous episodes on the Kindred Journey podcast. And again, I think that extra level of support in motherhood is so important, and it's not recognized enough how important it is. So if you're a mom that maybe knows something's not right in your motherhood journey and you just can't pin what it is, I feel you. I hear you, because that's where I was almost about a year ago. And we're going to talk more about that. Actually, I'm going to touch on my story in the next episode. So be sure to tune into that and kind of get caught up on how this journey kind of unfolded for me, as far as the rebrand and this process of the Grounded Mama kind of came to be born. And if you feel like you want to be a better mom, but you don't know how, like there's something that's just not right, but like, I'm trying this, I'm trying meditation, I'm trying, taking space. Again, this is what this podcast is here for. It's here for you. It's here as a tool, as a resource. We're going to dive into all kind of juicy things. And I'm just excited for you to be here. I'm so excited to be here as well. First off, like, this is something I shared with my previous podcast. It carries into this podcast as well, is that this is a safe place for you to feel understood. And there is no judgment, no matter where you are at in your journey of motherhood. It looks different for all of us. So I want you to come in this space, feel welcome in this space, feel understood in this space, because it truly is like having a safe space where there's no judgment or no stipulation, or I think sometimes on social media, we see the perfect mom or the one that's working out already, or the one who has the like nourishing meal spread every night out for her family. And like, oh, like there's sometimes some like a stigma associated with that. This is a place for you to be your whole authentic self. And I hope you can feel that from me as well. Like there is nothing but transparency on the other side of this microphone. And we're going to talk about all things motherhood. We're going to talk about the good, the messy. I know there's a lot of mess in motherhood. And and the hard. There is hard times. But those good times, those joyous times, those moments of synchronicity, those what pull you through, I feel like, each day. Earlier today, my 2-year-old just like looked back at me and smiled with the biggest smile. And I was like, yeah, we're doing it. This feels good. This feels like a good day. So again, we're just going to talk about all the things in motherhood. And it's not bad. None of it's bad. It's just some days are harder than others. And we're going to learn how to ebb and flow with that. And we're also going to talk about your well-being. I think sometimes there is so much emphasis on the newborn or the kids. Are the kids happy? Are the kids good? But are you good? Are you good as their mom, as their foundational piece in the home? Because I think there is so much of the time where we overlook ourselves or overlook our rest, overlook our nutrition, our hydration, all these things to make sure everybody else's needs are met. But how does it feel giving from an empty cup sometimes, or a cup with a hole in it that you're done, you're tanked, you're at your capacity? I think it's so important, and something I've really been mindful and working on is not putting myself first, but making sure I'm taken care of as well. Because honestly, nobody else is coming to save you at the end of the day. Like, you have to advocate for yourself. So again, we're really going to talk about your well-being and focusing on your well-being, because guess what? Your well-being is the foundation of your kids' well-being. They co-regulate with you no matter what your nervous system is like, no matter what your well-being, your energy, your capacity is like they're going to feel that. They're going to sense that each and every day. So it actually is kind of important that you go first. The saying, when you go on an airplane, you put your face mask on first before you take care of others. That's what we need to do in motherhood every single day. We need to show up for ourselves the way that we show up for our kids and our husbands and our families. Because, oh my gosh, could you imagine what a whole place, our whole family dynamic would be operating from if that was the case? So I just kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but we're going to talk about our well-being because it is so, so dang important here in motherhood. And, I think balance is such a desired outcome for so many of us. And I feel like it's the moving goalpost. It never stays. Like, once you think you almost have it, you almost have something figured out, a routine, a schedule, a system, you're like, yes, okay. And then kid gets sick. Okay. Or, oh, you have to stay home. Or, oh, another work project comes up and you have to halt what you're doing at home a little bit or pull the reins in because you need to focus some energy more back at work. Again, I feel like it's just this ebb and flow. Balance is not, you're not going to find it. Let me just start off by telling you that. If you want to hit stop here, like, oh, I thought she said find balance. Like, that was what we're going to come on here to achieve. It's more about a feeling of balance, because if you're trying to find it, you're never going to stop looking. And I think if it's more of a feeling and it comes from within, I think that's where you're going to hit it on the mark, is feeling it versus trying to find it. Because it's going to look different for all of us. Your version of success is going to look different than my version of success. Your version of balance is going to look completely different than my version of balance. We might be in the same season and we might be going through some of the same things, but it's not going to be the exact same. They're like, just like our kids, you can't really parent two kids the same. So, but we're going to talk about balance because I think it is such an important piece of this well-oiled machine that we manage day in and day out. And again, I'm just so excited that I get to unpack this a little bit and maybe shed some limiting beliefs on balance and shed some false narratives about balance and really truly just tackle it and what it looks like for you so it can be achievable for you. And again, it's more of a feeling versus finding it. Obviously, we're going to talk about the nervous system. I knew what a nervous system was, but I didn't know what the nervous system was and all that it entailed and everything that is literally operates from the nervous system. I'm just so fascinated by our nervous systems, our bodies, the way God built us, I think is just such a beautiful thing. Like truly, it is so mind-blowing when you think about it. And it's kind of like when you get a new car. Like you don't see anybody driving that car until you go pull that car off the lot and you're like, oh, somebody else has that white Toyota Camry too. Oh, interesting. I just saw another one down the road. Like it's kind of that, again, that awareness piece we're really going to talk about in this podcast, in this community that I have. We talk about so much of it comes from our awareness, and you can't change what you don't notice. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to take the 4 pillars that I believe comprise our each unique individual nervous systems, and we're going to unpack that a little bit more as well. And we're going to talk about all things in those 4 components. So we're going to talk, this podcast is for moms. I am a biblically grounded Christian, so there is going to be some scripture because spirituality is a component or a pillar of what I believe the nervous system is. It's part of the what is comprised of the nervous system. And I think there is, I don't want to say a movement going on right now, but I think there's a spiritual awakening. Let's just call it that. Like, I think, especially in motherhood, I think of God's role as us being his children. And like, now that I'm a mom and I have children, I'm like, oh, I'm sure he was impatient with me in this point in my life, or wasn't really happy when I did this in my life. And I feel like me as a mom, like, oh my gosh, I'm frustrated when my son does this, or I have to be patient with this. It's just interest. It's just a pivotal role being a parent. I think, especially when, we're God's children and then he sees us lovingly and unconditionally, and we still see our kids lovingly and unconditionally as well. And sometimes I think we're so much in our heads that we don't even hear what God is telling us. So we're going to really tap into that. I think sometimes if we just sit back and listen, as hard as that might be to like silence the noise and truly listen, we're going to work on that. And again, whatever your beliefs are, I honor you and I respect you and I welcome you with open arms. So we might not have the same religious beliefs, and that is totally okay. You are still welcome here. I want you to know that. I want you to know that I see you, and I am more than welcome, or I am more than welcoming to all mothers in this podcast. So please be here. I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited that you're maybe curious about like, oh, I've never thought of it that way. Like, good for you for showing up and listening to something that maybe you haven't had a belief around before, but you're curious about it because that is part of your nervous system. Sometimes we just want to have a narrative and we want to watch the same TV shows and watch the same news channels and be the same because our nervous system is trying to keep us safe. But if you open the door to other things and you're curious about it and you're willing to hear what another person has to say, oh my gosh, I can't tell you enough how many conversations I've had that would have triggered me a year ago or 2 years ago that I can have today in a very ventral vagal neutral space and honor and respect the other person for what they believe and have it and share my beliefs as well and walk away respectable and still friends and say, hey, that was a great conversation. Thank you for having the courage to have that conversation with me. Because I think nowadays it's like you either have to to follow the beliefs of somebody else, or it's my way or the highway. You got to believe what I believe. This is the way it is, or you're banned or you're bashed or whatever. Like, it's like we need more polarization in this world, and like open to have these kind of conversations in a respectful way. So welcome, please be here with all the warmness of my heart, and please reach out to me if you have any questions about something that I share. Again, like I said, we're kind of in our heads all day, every day. Oh my gosh, if my inner critic could just go sit in timeout for an hour or two, that would be amazing, right? Or my ego, take both of them. But we're going to talk about the mental piece of the nervous system. We're really going to tap into mindfulness and being mindful with your thoughts and your actions and your movement and your intention and the mental load that mothers have. Oh my gosh. I mean, the science behind the gray matter that we lose in our brains when we become moms it's very fascinating to me, like how much we're expected to keep in our brains intact in a like filing cabinet, day in and day out. I mean, and you got to bless and release some of that, and you got to get it out there. And we're going to work on that too. Cause again, I think my husband's amazing and great and has really had to pick up some of my slack around here lately, that I'm so grateful for that. But like, does he know their shoe size? Does he know the next doctor's appointment? Does he know, it's like all these things that moms have to keep track of. We could totally delegate some of these things. Our situation and our season of life, it just works for me to kind of manage some of those things for the most part. So we're going to create systems. We're going to create better ways to implement some of these, again, the chatter, the noise in our head, like, again, just let's silence that. Let's calm it a little bit. And I think once you can calm your mental chatter and the mental load kind of dampers down a little bit, it doesn't take such like a raring force in your brain. You're going to be able to, again, listen to those God nods is what I call them. You're going to be able to be more mindful and be more present with your kids. You're going to be like, oh, this is that sweet, sweet nectar of life that Lesley's talking about. So I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited to get going. Again, I feel like the pause happened at such a time of where I truly needed to abide and trust in him. And did I do that? Yes, I did. And I'm just so excited to get rolling with you and to share all the things I feel like I've been living content every single day, in more ways than none, about finding balance by regulating your nervous system. And sometimes it's actually even funny that my husband will be like, "Hey, don't forget to breathe. You tell us that all, you say that, breath is so important. Like, don't forget to breathe." I'm like, "Oh yeah, honey, thanks for the reminder. Appreciate you." And we're going to talk about physical. Physical has so many avenues that we're going to deep dive into. And a few just to touch on the top is going to be, our body, our physical body, and how we need to listen to our bodies. It's so important that we get in tune with what is going on in our bodies. Again, sometimes we're just so much up in here, up in our mental chatter, that we forget to drop down into our body. And we are going to talk about our physical space. That has to do with your physical environment has so much to do with how your body is reacting to it, how it makes you feel. And it's so important. And I didn't really realize some of the things that were causing me overwhelm were things that I thought had nothing to do with it. So we're going to talk about our environment, about our physical space, our body, our movement. It's all so important. And there's so much in the physical space to deep dive into. And last but certainly not least, we are going to talk about emotional regulation, emotional resiliency. We're going to talk about how to process and manage our emotions. We're going to talk about how to hold space for our children's emotions, especially like I'm in the seasons of littles, and there's a lot of emotions. And it's actually really funny how humans are conditioned to suppress emotion and we don't even realize it. Meanwhile, in the wilderness, two animals can kind of duke something out, and then they can go on about their day and move on with life, and they're fine. But we'll hold on to stuff. We'll fester with it. We'll bury it deep. We'll suppress it into our bodies. And we don't realize the impact that that is causing on us, on our relationships, on our well-being, all these things. So I'm just so ready to share all of this with you. I'm ready to be there with you. I'm ready to walk this journey with you of motherhood. I'm calling it the Kindred Journey. That was the original podcast name because motherhood is such a kindred journey. I want to be in it with you. I am here walking it with you. And I hope you can feel that in your body. I am just like full body chills all over right now. And I want to be there and walk it with you. One thing about me, if you don't already know this, I am intentional. I am intentional as heck. And I genuinely care from the bottom of my heart for you, for your motherhood journey, for your family's well-being, for your well-being. I care about it all. And almost to a flaw, some could say. But I'm just so excited that we're going to do this together and how all of this relates to motherhood. Again, because it's a journey. We're all in different seasons of it. We're all on different walks. We're all doing it one way or another. Like, and it all looks different. It's all beautiful. Like if there was a manual, it wouldn't make sense. We'd have to throw it out anyways because we're all doing this our own path, our own way. So again, what to expect. You're going to probably hear a little bit more solos, actually a lot of bit more solos from me, but I would love, love, love to have guest interviews with people in the sphere of their businesses with nervous system regulation or just learning about the nervous system. There's so much to learn, or other mamas, fellow mamas, because I feel like, again, knowing that you're not walking this journey alone and hearing some other stories makes you feel a little bit better about some of yours sometimes, I feel like. Because when I can get together with my girlfriends at brunch, I truly feel like, oh, okay, like they're in it too. It takes the pressure off. I think it takes the sense of urgency of how getting it right is so important, right? And when we're just trying to figure it out, like each of us are trying to figure out our own avenues, our own ways of doing things, and maybe not take it so seriously. Because sometimes at the end of the day, or the end of the week, or the end of the year, and I'll reflect and I'll look back at pictures, and I'm like, in my head, I was taking things so dang seriously. But then when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so fun. That trip was actually so much fun when I thought it was, work or hard or, but it was, watching our oldest son play in the waves in the ocean for the first time, or listening to their chuckle when they saw a family member do something funny, like things like that, like being more attuned to those things and those milestones. And again, you're going to rewire your brain. You're going to learn to focus on the positive or the present versus should have been better. I could have done this differently. The pressure that comes with motherhood. Again, that's such a societal thing that we have been, conditioned to believe. It doesn't have to be. It really doesn't. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you do that. Take the pressure off of you. Take the pressure off the cooker. Like there's no need. And I'm sure our moms probably said the same thing. I just want us to think about, you're right where you need to be. Whoever is listening to this, I pray that this podcast helps you in your motherhood journey. I really, truly want to be there to walk this motherhood journey with you. I just want you to know that I see you. I see you, mama, in the grocery store with 2 little boys pulling things off the shelf. You have a new baby in tow in the carrier on your chest, and you look tired, and you look like nobody has seen you in a while. I see you. I see you, mama, who feels like they have the golden handcuff to their CEO role, when they just want to be more present and be home more with their babies. I see you. I see you, mama, who does the laundry during the day when your husband is gone, and it looks like it's just already done by the time they get home. They don't realize the hours spent, the time spent putting everybody's clothes away, making sure everybody has clean clothes for the next week away. It's just already all done. So I see you. I see you, mama, who has sick kiddos at home, and you are scrubbing up puke off the carpet, off the couch, around the toilet. Again, hoping that you don't get whatever bug is going through your house. I see you. I see you, mama, who just wants one more minute with that precious babe of yours that is growing so fast that you don't know where the time has gone. I see you, mama. I hope you see yourself too. If any of this has resonated with you and you are loving this, there is a deeper journey waiting for you. I would love for you to join me on my free community called the Rebalanced Mama. It's on Heartbeat. It's an app, super user-friendly, and I would love for you to be there. I would love for you to be in the space with other mamas, and to, again, just to have a check-in, or just like, hey, I need some advice on this, or I'm having a hard day with this, like any advice, any tips. Again, just to know that you're not alone. And also, if you wanted to be a weekly insider, a Grounded Mama insider for my newsletter, I'm going to call it my love notes. It's not really going to be over inundated with spam. It's basically just going to be an update every week for the podcast, what I'm talking about on the podcast. Again, if there's any upcoming events, or just a little love note check-in, or if I have any bonus episodes, it's just going to be that, letting you know once a week. I'll drop into your inbox and just let you know what's going on over here. I have really felt called to not be on social media, and I don't know what that looks like yet. I'm still on social media. I'm still on Facebook and Instagram. I'm horrible at it because I don't want to be there, and I'll be fully transparent with you. So that is why my community for mamas is on a different app. It is social still, but it is not the mainstream social media. For me as an overwhelmed mom, I get very overstimulated being on social media, very distracted being on social media. I could try and intentionally be reaching out to somebody, but I forget, or a reel pops up in my face, or I get distracted, or some funny meme or whatever. It's just, for me, it's such an energy and a time suck. And that's not where my main focus is going to be. So if you want to be in the know, in the community with me, please join me in those two spots. I will have the links in the show notes for you. Again, I will have somewhat of a presence on social media, but it will be very minimal for the foreseeable future, because that is just not where I'm called to spend my time or my energy. And I just want to be transparent with you guys from the get-go. That's not where you're going to be able to connect with me. So if you want something more than the weekly podcast episode, those are the two places that you will be able to join me. And again, I will just attach the links in the show notes. On the Heartbeat, it's called the Rebalanced Mama. And then I will also attach the link for the weekly love notes from me. Okay, mama, I hope you enjoyed this first episode of the Grounded Mama podcast. I'm so glad you're here. And I hope you have a great week. And don't forget, if you just need a minute to yourself, it's okay. Just go take a minute. Take a deep breath and come back to whatever you're doing. Take care. Hey mama, thank you for joining me today. If this episode resonated with you, would you take a few seconds and share it with a fellow mom friend who is also navigating this journey of motherhood? Also, if you could spare a moment of your precious time and leave a 5-star review for the show, it lights me up to know that this podcast is helping you mother with ease. Time to go rest and ground down in all that we covered here today. I'll meet you back here next week for another episode with love and gratitude.